we're fortunate to have what I believe is a competent professional staff. The difficulty that we have is we're small. And you know, I wouldn't recommend making any changes to staff structure or staff numbers until some point down the road as the community grows, if it grows, as revenue changes. We have to kind of take a wait and see approach to those things, but the challenge for us is this growing body of regulatory requirements that we're under. The private sector is under them, and the public sector is under them. We talked about the solid waste regulatory regime that we're under. Our public works director probably spends 50% of his time filling out reports. And that does curtail his ability to manage projects on site and manage the staff team on site. But they're doing a good job. For purposes of public works, it was brought to a member of council's attention and to the administration's attention that we had a supply of about 160 tires at the industrial park. They were expended tires. Some of them had them, some of them did not. But we were able to have Public Works, take care of those. They were transported to Les Schwab and processed for recycling. I did check with Waste Management to determine what their costs would be, and there was really no savings to be had versus going with Les Schwab, and Les Schwab employs local people. And so that was just a better decision. The price tag for that is going to come in around $1,200, but those costs will be supported by a Cal Recycle grant that we had previously applied for and received. The Public Works team reports that they have completed the install of the gate as well as the fencing. So the industrial park is secure. And Paul reports that the building is nearly secure. That is 3/4 inch CDX plywood has been used to seal off the doors to what was, I guess it was called the Duck Club, or it was the administrative offices for that hangar building. But we want to make it secure to discourage people from living there or visiting there in what are actually unsafe conditions. And so those circumstances have been addressed by our Public Works team. And the staff, though small, is doing good work. They have my confidence, and I appreciate what they do. That's my report.
Appreciate it. Any council committee reports? Basically, I attended a couple meetings since our last meeting, flood control, mosquito abatement, LAFCO, I think, but Saturday I'll be heading to DC for 6 days for the Federal Policy Conference. And we had the meeting today to prep for it, and yeah, it's going to be brutal. Things are still turbulent there. FERC had a 5-member board, so the law says that either party can only have 3 members on the board, and the Democrats had a 3-2, and one of the commissioners was asked to step down by the White House. So that happened this morning. We were told that it happened, but we don't know if we have a meeting with them. We don't know if that's still going to happen. I don't know what immediately means, but it seems like immediately. But anyway, as you mentioned, the regulatory burdens. There's a lot of talk about, changing them, different areas. So I have a full report when I get back. That's about all I have. City administrator reports?
I'll log my comments previously made as my report.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we are adjourned.
No.
Chip, I'm sorry.
Speak up.
He's sitting back there so quiet.
Starting to get out. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this report is for March, since I wasn't at the last meeting, we're gonna go back a few weeks, but overall, pretty average month for the fire station. They ran 12 city calls in 13 counties, so just an average month, about 25 calls is what they tend to average. No significant incidents. I believe Mr. Wagner reported at the last meeting that we did finish the hydrant maintenance. We have a list of some minor things that we need, probably gaskets and maybe blue dots, but nothing imperative that is gonna keep us from getting water out of the hydrants. Anyway, we'll get that finished up with Mr. Pratt and get the supplies that we need to do those items. Almost every month I talk about how many guys were outfitted with the personal protective gear, so they issued another 30 sets of gear to firefighters, either new hires or firefighters returning for seasonal work. So they typically work 9 months a year, or at our CAL FIRE stations in the hills, they work 9 months out of the year, so 30 were outfitted with equipment. Training, most of our firefighters probably average 200, 300, maybe even 400 hours of training a year. And so this was a pretty busy training month for Station 73. They had their Swift Water Week. Many or several of the firefighters here in Biggs are part of the Swift Water Rescue Team, which the majority of that equipment is housed at the Grizzly Station, but we do have the water rescue craft here that they respond with when we have water rescue emergencies, both dynamic and static type water emergencies. So they did their water week, which is essentially CEs for them to maintain their stats on the team and keep up on any new training that comes forward and practice all their skills and get signed off and all that for the year. So they did that. One of the firefighters here is on what we call the ECC support team, which is the Emergency Command Center, our dispatch center in Warville. When we have large incidents throughout the state where we have an incident management team assigned to it, we also have an ECC support team that goes and helps process all those orders that incident management team is ordering. And one of the firefighters has done that, so he went to the incident management team conference down in Southern California. Week-long conference, they get updated again on anything new that the teams need to worry about. Not so much, skills training as much as it is meshing and just getting any new direction from the state, if that makes sense. Some of the firefighters, they also are required to go to leadership training. So usually those trainings are a week too. So all of our engineers and all of our captains are required to go to different levels of leadership training. So some of our staff here at the station went to that training. And last thing, every year we pump test all of our fire engines to make sure that they're still pumping at capacity and what that fire engine is rated for. And engine 73 passed. And report if you have questions.
So one of the things that we're going to be talking about and have been for a number of years is wildfires. And now it's more of a national thing, even though California probably, made its name first. But are you guys, do you follow any of that stuff or weigh in on it or anything like that?
In regards to
Just
to who?
For example, with the governor's office in California, but, we've had a tough time getting NCPA or publicly owned utilities, or utilities have had a tough time getting any movement on wildfire policy. Number of issues, we can talk about it later, but it's something I'm just kind of curious. It seems like that there might be something ready to happen, but, who knows until it happens.
Yeah, not to speak on behalf of our leadership in Sacramento, but I'm sure that those talks are had in Sacramento, and I'm sure my boss has been a part of those talks as well. So far in the positions that I've held in this organization, I have not been involved in those particular talks, but yeah, we can meet offline and address any concerns that you guys have.
Well, and I'll have more information when I get back, because, like I say, it seems like there might be, confidence from Alpha's put some legislation forward. And I know there's movement on from the other areas too, so,
Sure.
but yeah, I'll get with you when I get back.
Okay.
Any questions for Chip?
I used to see, especially out there on C Street, fire hydrants being opened up and flushed out, the whole street flooded for a little while. I haven't seen that in a long time. Are you not needing to get the 7 out or?
Yeah, so we're real careful about doing that nowadays, so, typically, when we look at fire hydrants, and it's something that Paul and I are going to review and come up with a better plan for the flushing of hydrants. We have not been doing that because it does cause, it potentially causes damage to people's property, like you said, it's flooding the street, or it's hitting ornamental decorations within yards and things of that nature, or you're shutting the streets down because it's going across the street or what have you. So, what we primarily look for right now is making sure that those stems, which is when you open that hydrant up, there's that stem that goes down in there, right? We make sure that those stems are lubricated so that